Hey, how are you guys doing this week? Welcome to this week's Twisted Teaching Tip. And I am so excited to share with you guys the resource that I've created for you this week. So, have you ever heard the saying, don't talk about it, be about it, or it's better to put your money where your mouth is, or you better walk that walk and talk that talk? Well, this week, I'm going to share with you guys a strategy that I created and a resource that I have for you that is going to encourage your students to not only talk about it, but be about it. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you so you guys can see what goodies I have created. So, with this resource, again, our goal is to challenge our students not only to just talk about what they're learning in our classes, but to be about what they're learning in our classes and to take the content that they are learning and gaining and applying that to their personal lives or to their communities. So, in this activity, and you guys know I'm all about my community connections. I'm all about taking what we learn in the classroom and transferring it outside of our classroom to solve real world problems, because that's what being a culturally responsive and culturally relevant educator is all about, is building students critical consciousness and preparing them to solve issues with the content that they're learning from our classroom. That's what school is all about, right? If you can't take what you're learning in the classroom outside the classroom and apply it, then stop teaching it. All right, so the way this activity works, again, if we're going to talk about it, we're going to be about it. We're going to put our money where our mouth is. And so after studying or teaching a certain topic or content to your students, or even a skill, what you're going to do is have your students just write a reflection over that topic, that content, that new skill that they just learned. And so my reflection, the prompt is, from this, I've learned dot, dot, dot. And so this is just an area for them to fully flesh out and just rehash that strategy, that topic, that tool that they just learned about, just used. That is their area to just kind of process their thoughts. So you want to give them the opportunity to talk about it, okay? Reflecting. Then after you challenge them to just kind of hash it out and talk about it, now we want to be about it. So if I just taught this topic to my students, or we explored this idea, or I taught them a new skill or how to solve a problem, how does this look to them in their real life? So how can we take what we learned content wise and connect to our personal lives or connect it to our community? And so this is where that critical thinking comes in, because some things are not going to be just cut and dry. It's really going to have to push students are really going to have to push and think and do that cognitive lifting to understand, how is it that what we just studied applies to my personal life, my community, an issue that we're seeing in our country, or an issue that we're seeing in the world. So remember, this whole goal is to build students' critical consciousness and challenge them to really make a connection between what's being studied in class and how what's been studied in class can apply to their lives outside of class. It's preparing them to be action doers, not just talkers, but action doers, okay? And so again, first, we're going to ask our students to reflect over the topic that they just studied, explored, and learned about, that content area. And then we want to challenge them that with this new information that I just gained, I can. So this is more, let's start thinking about what are some things I can do with it, or these are some things I will do with it. Now, this activity can apply to any content area or discipline. It can be relevant to English if you are studying a book, if you're studying different writing strategies or techniques. You can ask them to reflect on what they learned about that, how can be applied, and then challenge them to apply it. If you are in social studies and you are maybe exploring continuity, change over time, the past and the present, how can they think about one topic that they've studied and maybe make connections to what they're seeing today happening around them? If you are in math and they've learned about a problem, how can they use this equation to solve something in the real world, or that they're facing in their lives, or that they're facing in their community? So even if it's like about budgeting. How can they take this math equation or strategy and maybe develop a budget or something with it? It can apply to science. So this is that activity. This is kind of one of those community action tasks that I like to give you, where again, we are challenging our students not to just talk about it, but be about it. Take that content and connect it to the community, because that's what being a culturally relevant, culturally responsive classroom is all about. All right. So I hope that you guys like this resource that I have for you this week. You can gain this resource by going to twistedteaching.com and logging into your membership page. And also, I'll drop the link to this resource down in the comments section. If you like the weekly Twisted Tips that I'm dropping for you, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, you hit that like button, and you turn on the notification so that way, every Wednesday when I drop something new, you'll be notified. All right. I hope this is useful to you as you twist the way teaching and learning happens in your classroom. I'm out.